Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for choosing this lecture and your interest on how to find those places where your relatives were. My name is Daniel Horowitz, and I have been dedicated to genealogy since 1986. I'm involved in digitization and transcription projects and volunteer my time for the Israel Genealogy Research Association. I also work for MyHeritage since 2006, liaising with genealogy societies, bloggers, media, and also lecturing virtually or in person in conferences around the world. Now, according to the late Lord Harold Samuel, a real estate tycoon in Britain, who coined the expression, there are three things that matters in property: location, location, location. I'm going to base my presentation and extrapolate that to genealogy. And as genealogist, you know that every fact that you collect to the family tree may be related to a location. Probably the most clear ones are the residence, school, business, or cemeteries. But if you also think birth, marriage, migrations, death, they all have a location where things happen. And you can even drill down even further than that and assign a location for every record available that you find on the genealogy research. If you're looking for a specific location, if you're doing a one location study, also you may want to get all the records available for that specific place. And if we're talking about location, I'm pretty sure you remember those dates when we had to write letters to communicate with other people. And if the address on the envelope was not exact and precise, chances are the letter will not get to the person we wanted. So we need a number of the building or the house and a name for the street. And this is in the majority of the world. And of course, each country and each place will have their own conventions. You also need the name of the city or the town or the small place where this street is located, and taking into account that the same street name may be applied in different cities. Then you may have a county, depending again the organization of the different countries of the world. You may have a state or a more government, a bigger area. You have a zip code, and this is quite standard across the world. The only difference may be if it's only numbers or it's a mixture of numbers and letters and the amount of characters used. And definitely the last thing, if we go from the specific of the house to the bigger area, which is the country, you need to know that as well. And I can guarantee you, if you know all these details, you will get not only to the right place, but also to the right family. And this is exactly what I had to do when on my family, I was passed this picture, allegedly from a family member in New York. Just by looking at the picture, I could already identify some details. Well, it's very clear that this store belongs to M. Singer. This is the owner, right? That's the name of the store. The store or the problem comes when this was a picture from Max and Molly or Mally Singer, which actually means that the M could be either for one of them. Now, I also learned from the information passed to me that the singer had a store, a grocery store, that Max died, and this picture was actually taken after July 1940. So one of the documents that I would like to find out in my research is the registration of this store, and I already know that I actually need to look for registers before 1940. I can very clearly see in the window that this grocery store sells tea, coffee, butter, eggs, everything that you will want for preparing a nice cake. And I also know that this is located in the state of New York in the United States. But where exactly? Well, it's right there in front of our own eyes. Those 722 numbers on the signage is actually telling us the clue where this store is located. In order to find this, I went to my website on MyHeritage, where there is this feature to show a specific place and all the people in one family that lives in that. I know that New York is very big, but I also know that my family was focused and concentrated in the Brooklyn area. So by searching in the Brooklyn area, I got all the locations of my family. I also know that Max and Molly were actually living in Kings Borough, okay, or Brooklyn Borough and Kings area. So I knew exactly the address I needed to look for. It is the 1619 of the 58th Street in Brooklyn, New York. And let me give you this tip. Google Maps will do a great job helping you find the exact location of any address. So starting with this home address, I decided to look for 722, which is the number I had on the sign in the image. And then Google will give me the closest location or street addresses that has a 722. It was quite easy to identify those in Brooklyn that were close by the home address. I got a few in Manhattan. I have a few in the Flatbush and other places, but no, I managed to find the correct one. So all what I had to do is to calculate how close this store allegedly location was from the house. So I click on the directions. I put again the address of the house, and Google tells me that it's just 15 minutes away in a private car. No, 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 no. My family didn't have a private car in the 1940s. Probably they took the metro or the bus. And you can see also that metro stations are actually quite close to both places. So yeah, chances are that these two places, the house and the store, are in those locations because they are quite close by. But Google gives me even more clues that I am at the right location. You can see a picture of the current view of the street for that location. And yes, I can even go and zoom in on that image. Not by coincidence, we can see that actually this is or was a store that sold food and food center. What more than that, what Google Maps gives me is a way of going back in time and see the different stages on the years for that location. I can tell you that that store actually was closed in 2000. And then if I keep going back and back in time, I see how this store was looking in the 1900 or 2009 and 1907, I think, or 2007 was the first image that I got from this food center. Allegedly today, this was a Mexican food center, but everything matches the picture that I had. You see the two counters and the big door at the end center. It really looks exactly as the picture. But the picture was taken in 2000, and I'm sorry, in 1940. So how can I go further back from that? Well, for that, specifically in the area of New York, I have a website called the 1940s, and this allows me to see any place in the New York area. I only need to write down the address that I'm interested on. I will see then on the screen a map with the exact location, and on the picture, I see a number. That number is actually the registration number because those pictures were taken for tax purposes. Yes, that is why the arrow and the number and the store looks a little bit further away, but I can move to the next photo in the building and try to see a little bit closer the picture. Unfortunately, if I keep going, I will lose the angle for this store. So what happened between the 1940s and the 2000s? Well, we had the 1980s. And not only this website allows me to order a print of the image or even to colorize this black and white picture, I can actually see how this same corner was looking in the 1980s. This is another website, obviously from the same organization, that has very similar pictures to those tax purposes pictures for the 1980s. And same here. I just type an address and I get a map with the exact location and the picture. Yep, you can see that the grocery store was there even from the 1980s. You want to know how you can go further back in time for a specific location? Please just tune in for the next video and I will keep showing you more tips and tricks how to locate the places where your relatives were.